I'm Lady Galaxy, and this video is the full version of Playtime, a painting reminiscent of an old painting I did while doing a psychic reading. I think in my career I have only done 3 of these, including this one. There may be a fourth I can't quite remember, but sometimes while I'm playing or painting, I have an overwhelming desire to play, and it makes me think of things from my past and my childhood, and that's where this painting came from. Recently, I learned that you can make jelly out of redbud trees, and I will be trying that at the homestead this year, currently, actually. But I decided that my cherry blossom tree instead, during this particular painting, is a redbud tree. So we'll have a redbud tree and a full moon, and then something to play with. What would you play with if you were hanging out with a redbud tree under a full moon? That's a good question, isn't it? I would like to have a friend and a dog and usually my journal. I don't really go anywhere without that thing, or at least one of them. The very first time I ever painted this particular concept and design was at the Psychic Fair in upstate New York, when a reporter heard about what I was doing, and I wasn't in the know that she was a reporter when she came to me, and she asked if I did readings, and she agreed to the price and the process. So I asked her a couple of questions, like I ask anyone who wants me to paint a custom painting for them. Do you resonate more with the daytime or the nighttime? Would you call yourself down to earth or spacey? I will often ask a favorite color and even an astrological sign. And then I will sit with that information for a moment. When you have a large audience, you don't have a whole lot of time to meditate, so I just take a deep breath and ask the energy around me to guide me to the painting that will best serve the person who's asking for my work. In this case, all I could hear was playtime. She needed to play. She took her work very seriously and hadn't taken time for herself in a very long time. And then I painted. She took some pictures with permission. We chatted a little while I painted. When I pulled the tree from the painting, she had a tear in her eye. It reminded her already of something that she had experienced as a child. I won't give away the end of this painting, but I will say when I was finished, it not only brought her back to a very specific childhood memory, but she knew before I even explained the painting that she was meant to take time to play, to rest, to enjoy herself, to experience the things around her. And she did. She spent the rest of the event enjoying herself, and I was grateful for that. This story also reminded me of one of my favorite readings I have ever done, and that was in Romance, Wisconsin. Romance, Wisconsin is a little tiny town, and for a little tiny event in a little tiny town, I have so many memories and stories that I could share with you. This one in particular was a rather large, towering, very strong man with a dark complexion and matching dark eyes, piercing. And he walked up and he asked what I do, and we talked, And then he said, "Show me." And I said, "Show you what?" And he said, "Show me something about myself." I asked permission to sit a moment with his energy, and he agreed. He standing on the outside of my roped-off workspace, and me sitting at my table like you see me now. A couple of deep breaths, and I knew exactly what I was going to paint. And I started. I didn't even ask him his favorite colors or daytime and nighttime questions. I saw right through those piercing eyes. When I painted a deep, bright ocean with many layers. A surface layer with jellyfish and sun rays coming down. A layer where coral and algae and seaweed were growing. And the deepest layer had an old Parthenon-style building and a pyramid in gold, and a little air bubble protecting it at the bottom of the ocean. When I was done, I turned it to the man. He asked me to explain myself, and so I did. Those deep, beautiful hidden treasures so deeply buried beneath him, and all of the layers of the things expected of him from the people he knows, and that top surface layer with the sun shining through, because only the people who took the time to break through the surface, or even longer, to sink deeper into the knowledge and beauty of this amazing man standing before me, will they see the treasures that he hides deep beneath himself. He walked away. He almost looked mad at me. He had tears in his eyes. I felt bad, but I put a sold sign on the painting because I didn't think it would be right to sell it when it was truly a painting of that man. I was actually going to give it to him. I was afraid I'd offended him, so I didn't chase after him to tell him, "Hey, you can have it if you want." He came back about 20 minutes later and asked to purchase the painting. I told him I was willing to give it to him, and he insisted that I not only take the money I asked originally, but a very healthy tip as well. And then he asked if he could hug me, and I said yes. And that embrace was warm and loving and understanding without words. No one had told him before that they could see the beauty he was hiding. He had to be strong his whole life, and you could see it in those piercing eyes. Or at least, I was gifted that vision when he shared his energy with me. He asked would I hold the painting till the venue was over, since it was a music venue, and he was afraid that it would get messed up. The next morning, while I was packing up to leave, he gave me another one of those amazing, protective hugs, and told me that I had touched him, and that that painting was going to be a part of him for a very long time. I told him he didn't need that painting to remember how amazing he is, and that, just maybe, he should let more people in. It's been an honor in my career to get to paint these kinds of paintings, to be able to share these kinds of stories, to have people let me into their energy so that I may tell them the story I see, and to have the universal energy share with me such beautiful visions that I can create with Krylon spray paint and recycled and outdated objects, and apparently slices of my shirt. I'm sure I've told you all the story of the mom who got very mad at me because I cut my shirt. Haven't I? Way back before everyone and their mother's brother had a cell phone or two in their pocket, I received a call after a show. We were packing up to leave town, and this woman asked if I was Lady Galaxy. You could hear the frustration in her voice. So I took the call as gently as possible and Told her I was. She asked why her child was chopping his clothes up and saying Lady Galaxy said so. I since have changed my show where I tell people you cannot try this at home unless you buy your own clothes and do your own laundry. She and I had a good laugh after I explained that I cut my shirt to make splashes of water and leaves of trees. Once she realized her son was A, not lying, and B, truly not being destructive with the intention of destruction, but with the intention of creation, she gave her son one shirt that he was allowed to cut and use for paintings when he played Lady Galaxy. Don't worry, she wasn't letting him use spray paint. Oh, my life really has been full of some very amazing adventures. I'm blessed by that, and I love that I get to still share those stories with you. It looks like I'm just about finished with this one. Now we're going to get to the really exciting part. This is the part that I have been trying to avoid telling you about this whole time. I think the counter on this video is 15 minutes with just before and just after, so I probably spent about 11 or 12 minutes painting this painting. And of course, that always includes my jamming and dancing and giggling and watching the chickens out my side window. I'm being very particular here that I find all the right pieces and sizes. Looking through to make sure I don't have any major drips or anything crazy that's going to affect the image, and lining up the centerpiece. Did I find it? You can see in my face, I literally just said to myself, I hope so. And I'm trying to get above it this time so I can center it. Does anyone have a guess what it is yet? Does anyone recognize this from a previous painting in my traveling career? Couple of squirts of paint. Fingers crossed. I'm nervously adding highlights. I do still get a touch nervous when I try new things or rare things, but I love that feeling in my tummy. Asking the universe to support this painting. Removing the parts it takes to make it. And I am satisfied. So the final details, and I will show you. Can you tell yet? If I were under a redbud tree, under a full moon, counting the stars, I would want one of these for sure. As a matter of fact, now I think I want to find a tree in my yard. Signature to make it complete? Nope, not yet, because you need to start a wish on. Or two. I amuse myself so much. And the final result? Nope, of course not. More details. And the signature to make it complete. Whew, we did it. Are you ready for the final reveal? 3, 2, 1. Oh, the glare is in the way. Can you tell? Under the full moon, under a redbud tree, on a tire swing. Care to join me? I think that you may find me there this evening. Thank you for joining along. Do the things.